Have you ever noticed your baby pulling one of these kinds of faces? Well, could it be that they are actually experiencing a degree of constipation? And could this be caused by drinking cow's milk? My name is Christian Flutter. Let's talk about pooping. Yes, milk. Milk is often accused as being the culprit for babies being a little bit constipated, and with fairly good reason. There's a lot of research out there looking at the impact of phone calls coming through in the middle of a recording session. Hello, Christian speaking.
5 minutes later.
Now, where was I? Yes, something about milk. So kids who drink milk tend to end up with a degree of constipation going on. So we were talking about constipation. Now, constipation is that straining phase that we're seeing. If we're seeing straining, this could indicate that we've got a bit of a problem going on. And could it be because of milk? So there are many studies out there that look at cow's milk protein, the ingestion of this, and the development of constipation. And in fact, studies are suggesting between 28 and up to 78% of children will have a reaction to cow's milk protein resulting in that constipation. In fact, the most recent randomized controlled trial on this topic was performed back in 2012, and it was looking at a whole bunch of kids. And what they did is they took a whole bunch of kids and split them into different categories. Kids who were on a cow's milk free diet and kids who were on a cow's milk diet. And after a period of 4 weeks, they then had a look to see how those kids were going. And in the group who had the cow's milk free diet, 80% of them had shown changes in their gut function compared to very few in those maintaining the cow's milk diet. Now, what they did then is what's called a re-challenge. They provided another episode or another 2 weeks of being on cow's milk to see what would actually happen. And of those kids, 42% then started to show a response again. Now, this is a positive challenge indicator telling us that after a period of being excluded and then going back on it again, that is likely the culprit involved in that particular pattern. Now, this gave a total of around 34% of children being affected by cow's milk protein. So how does it actually happen? Well, we have to think about this one in terms of allergies. It may not be like a standard allergy that we think of in the sense of like an anaphylaxis where our face suddenly pops up, but it will still have a reaction inside our system. Now let's think about this one. If we take an allergic substance, we can get puffy with it. What about our bottoms? Now imagine if your bottom is this big, right? And you've got a nice little hole there where stuff can get out of without any problems. But if we add an allergen to our system, an allergen which causes inflammation and swelling of the lining of our gut and our backside like this, all of a sudden that space becomes a little tighter. Now when that's happening, kids have to suddenly push a lot harder to get that stuff out through this teeny tiny little hole. Now this is where we start to see the straining patterns. There may be a bit of blood coming through. The body starts to produce excessive amounts of mucus, so you might see mucus in their poop at the same time as well. So this is why we are looking at milk as being a potential culprit here. It's because we know it has an allergenic effect on our system. So what can we do? Well, the easiest thing is to cut dairy out of the diet. Now, there are studies that have looked at this as well. And in some studies, they have shown that up to 22% of children after just 6 months of being off dairy show improvements or have shown that they are achieving tolerance in regards to cow's milk protein. But better yet is waiting for a full 12 months after 1 year of excluding cow's milk from their diets. Up to nearly 90% of children showed improvements in functional scores. So does this mean that every child with a bit of constipation, we should just cut dairy out of their diet completely? Well, sort of. We still have to be mindful that there are other causes of constipation as well. Things like Hirschsprung's or hypothyroidism. These can also lead to constipation presentations in children. But what it does tell us, in the infant where we're suspecting a degree of cow's milk protein allergy or sensitivity going on, it may be worthwhile cutting dairy out of their diet. The evidence is uncertain as to whether or not it will definitely fix it, but there is little harm in giving it a try. Hope that helps you, and I look forward to chatting with you again next time. See you soon.